Good morning everyone, welcome to the South Garden. I'm doing this video in the morning because it gets about 100 in the middle of the afternoon. So let's take a look here. Alright, so we've planted some painted mountain milling corn right here. And then we have rattlesnake pole beans to climb the trellis. And then we also have butternut vining squash. So these are little guys about this big and they'll climb up with the beans. So kind of a three sisters thing we've got going here. You can see it's doing well. I'll pull this cage off. It was just for initially to prevent anything from eating them. And so then I'll move it up here so that these can vine up safely and the corn will grow on its own. All right. Next up we have the tomatoes. So you can see they're growing pretty well. Again, the orange tomatoes aren't doing quite as well. But we have what I believe is Valencia right here, and you can see turning orange. And then over here we've got Tangerine from last year. It's doing okay. In the center here, this one's not doing very well, but it was really small when it started. We have Prudens purple, and then we have the Sungold over here. And let me zoom in so you can see some of the delicious berries. Next up, we have the tomatillo bed. So we got the tomatillo here, and I took out the cover crop, and we have beans. So we have Eclipse right here, Jacob's cattle in the center, and then to the right we have Calypso. And you can see they're just starting to sprout up. They're having a little trouble in the really hot heat. So we'll see how that goes. All right. So next up we have our sweet peppers. A really big pepper here. I don't know if it's one of the Oranos F2s that I saved. And then we have another sweet pepper here. Keeps going. These look like the Corno de Toro. Another one. This is probably the Habanada. And then this is one of the bells. I think it's the red bell that I planted this year. And then I flipped this bed, so we've got light red kidney, two of the Southwest mix, red and gold, and then tiger's eye over here. This whole part is flowers, and this half is beans. So that's the mix. And I've saved these for breeding. That's why they're kind of fenced off there. And then we've got some really tall sunflowers. Over here we've got our squash. So doing a little bit better. We've got some powdery mildew on one over here. You can see we have, don't know exactly which type these are. I'm not familiar with squash. Of those, some of these with a nice little ladybug there. And then that continues. There's another one here. But then we also have this guy right here. So that's pretty fun. Lavender's doing well. And then we have our hatch pepper right here. And then Cayenne. We actually have one that turned red. And here we have our Hungarian chili. Looks like we have one ready to pick. I think that's the sashimi pepper or something like that. Really small. And then over here they're really having trouble in the heat, so I kind of spread some chaff from my wheat to cool down the soil, as well as put some sun blocking above it, hoping that it survives. But it looked like it perked up in the night, so hopefully that's the problem. I think this is our Pablano, and this, I'm not quite sure. They may just be having trouble. This may be the Oranos, just having trouble with it. Over here we have our patty pan squash. It continues to produce pretty well. Soil's not quite as good. Hoping to fix that next year. This guy hasn't done pretty much anything. And then I took out the sugar beets. They basically were wilting and dying and all that. So you can see it hasn't really gotten any bigger. So I think sugar beets are on pause for now. I'll probably fill this with something else. Next up, the Pandrino is looking amazing. You can see there's just fruit all over it, like usual. And it's kind of that grape tomato. And they're just everywhere. And then we have our San Marzano. There's a lot of fruit, but it's not quite turning yet. See down there, a lot more on the other side. And then Early Girl, which is turning, so that one's already giving us some, as it promises to be the earliest. And then right over here, another Palandrino. So you can see this bed is much bigger than the other one, just for size. It's already out of the tops, whereas on the right side, kind of halfway up. So, and then we have the rattlesnakes that have just been eaten kind of the whole time. But I planted some buckwheat in this bed, and I don't really see it coming up over there, but we've got a couple sprouting right here and a couple up right there. So hopefully it'll continue to grow. We'll see how it goes. So yeah, that's the whole garden we've got for now. Hope you've enjoyed seeing it, and thanks for watching.